Thank you for joining this edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India issued draft regulations on Bima Sugam, International Energy Agency, to start full membership talks with India. Scheme guidelines for pilot projects on use of green hydrogen in the transport sector released. Researchers produced more power from nuclear fusion by using the joint European torus or jet. Terai arc landscape recognized as the United Nations World Restoration Flagship. Parliamentary Standing Committee releases a report on employment generation and revenue earning potential of fisheries sector. Starting with the first news of the day. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India issued draft regulations on Bima Sugam. Before we start, let us first get to know about the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. It is a statutory body formed under the IRDAI Act 1999. Its purpose is the overall supervision and development of the insurance sector in India. Lastly, its key objectives include protecting the interest of policyholders, speedy and orderly growth of insurance industry, and speedy settlement of genuine claims. Coming back, now let us discuss about what is the Bima Sugam. Bima Sugam Insurance Electronic Market is a robust digital public infrastructure with open standards and interoperable platform. It shall be a one-stop solution for all insurance stakeholders vis-a-vis customers, insurers, intermediaries or insurance intermediaries. The regulatory framework for Bima Sugam includes: the framework will be formed under Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013 as a not-for-profit company. Shareholding of the company will be widely held amongst life, general and health insurers with no single entity having a controlling stake. Also, there will be consent-based architecture for the services. The consumers will not be charged for availing services of Bima Sugam. Lastly, the IRDAI would nominate 2 members to the board of the company. Further, let us talk about its significance. Bima Sugam will enable insurance companies to easily access validated and authentic data from multiple touch points in real time. It will further help to increase insurance penetration and density by enhancing the availability, accessibility, and affordability of insurance products and services. Talking about the insurance penetration, it is measured as a percentage of insurance premiums to GDP. And insurance density is calculated as the ratio of the premiums to population per capita premium. Lastly, it promotes transparency, efficiency, and collaboration across the entire insurance value chain.
In our next news, International Energy Agency to start full membership talks with India. The announcement was made in a joint communiqué following the International Energy Agency's 2024 ministerial meeting and 50th anniversary events. India joined the International Energy Agency as an associate member in 2017 and sent a formal request to full membership last year. In 2021, India signed a strategic partnership agreement with the International Energy Agency to strengthen cooperation in global energy security, stability, and sustainability. Before proceeding, let's first start by understanding about International Energy Agency. It was established in 1974 in the wake of the 1973-74 oil crisis, and its headquarters is in Paris. Its objective is to help its members respond to major oil supply disruptions. It has 31 members and 8 associate members, and its function is to facilitate comprehensive energy security, technical cooperation, and research. IEA mainly publishes 2 reports. These are World Energy Outlook Report and World Energy Investment Report. Coming back, now let's understand and talk about the criteria for International Energy Agency membership. In order to apply for the membership, a country must be a member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. A country must have crude oil and/or product reserves equivalent to 90 days of the previous year's net imports. India has strategic oil reserves of 9.5 days of its needs, and combined with storage at refineries and depots, it is equal to the 66-day requirement. There must be a demand restraint program to reduce national oil consumption by up to 10%. Moreover, there must be a legislation and measures to ensure that all oil companies under its jurisdiction report information upon request. The final decision on a country's membership will be made by the International Energy Agency Governing Board. India's IEA membership holds great significance as India's strategic importance will be recognized in tackling global energy and climate challenges. And also, it holds important significance for energy security as India is the world's third largest energy consumer.
Moving on to the next news. Scheme guidelines for pilot projects on use of green hydrogen in the transport sector released. These guidelines have been released by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy under the National Green Hydrogen Mission or NGHM. Talking about the NGHM, it was launched in 2023 to facilitate demand creation, production, utilization and the export of green hydrogen. Its subcomponents are the Strategic Interventions for Green Hydrogen Transition Program or SITE and Green Hydrogen Hubs. Let us first start by talking about the key features of the scheme. The implementing agencies will be nominated by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. The scheme will further be implemented till 2025 to 26 with its total budgetary outlay of Rs 496 crores. The key objectives of the scheme include validating technical feasibility and performance of green hydrogen operated vehicles along with the economic viability. Additionally, supporting green hydrogen as fuel in buses, trucks and four-wheeler vehicles. Let us also understand the need for promoting green hydrogen in the transport sector. The decarbonization of the transport sector as transport sector accounts for about 18% of the country's carbon emissions. Also, reduced dependence on fossil fuel further benefits the environment. Lastly, fulfilling Panchamrit commitment with net zero emission by 2070. The scheme also faces several challenges, namely, the lack of an existing clean hydrogen value chain such as hydrogen production plants, refueling stations and storage facilities acts as a challenge. The retrofitting of vehicles, lack of research and development and the lack of international standards and regulations further adds to the concern. Other initiatives have also been taken for the decarbonization of the transport sector. These are faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles or the FAME scheme, the Bharat Stage 6 emission standards, the Forum for Decarbonizing Transport by Niti Aayog and World Resources Institute, India. Lastly, the promotion of biofuels blending of ethanol in petrol under Ethanol Blended Petrol Program.
Moving on to the next news. Researchers produced more power from nuclear fusion by using the Joint European Torus or JET. JET is a large tokamak that was the first device to produce controlled fusion power with deuterium and tritium situated in the United Kingdom. A tokamak is a machine that confines a plasma using magnetic fields in a donut shape. Let's start by first understanding about nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is the process by which two light atomic nuclei combine to form a single heavier one while releasing massive amounts of energy. Nuclear fusion also possesses several advantages. Firstly, there are no carbon emissions in a nuclear fusion as the only byproducts are small amounts of helium. Also, abundant fuel such as deuterium is available as it can be easily extracted from water. And additionally, it gives reliable power as they continue to produce energy for longer periods of time. However, despite the advantages, there are also some challenges. Let's discuss them as well. First concern is the requirement of high temperature. As per International Atomic Energy Agency, temperature of over 100 million degrees Celsius is required to make deuterium and tritium fuse. Secondly, there is neutron radiation during the reaction that can travel tens of centimeters out into the containment structure. Now let's also have a look at the initiatives taken by India. India joined the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Project in 2005, a global initiative attempting to build the world's largest tokamak reactor. The Institute of Plasma Research, an autonomous institute under the Department of Atomic Energy that leads the Indian program in fusion. At last now let's also understand the difference between nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. In nuclear fusion, two light nuclei combine to produce energy, offering a process that is inherently safer due to the minimal amount of fuel used, thereby reducing the chances of catastrophic disasters. Conversely, nuclear fission involves the splitting of a heavy, unstable nucleus into two lighter nuclei, posing a higher risk of large-scale accidents as seen in events like the Fukushima nuclear disaster. While fusion is more energy efficient, fission is comparatively less efficient.
Moving on to the next news. Terai Arc Landscape recognized as the United Nations World Restoration Flagship. First, let us start by discussing about the 6 other initiatives recognized along with Terai Arc Landscape. These are Restoring Mediterranean Forest Initiative, Living Indus Initiative, Axion Andina Initiative, Sri Lanka Mangrove Regeneration Initiative, Regreening Africa Initiative and Forest Garden Program. These recognized initiatives will be eligible for technical and financial United Nations support. In 2022, Namami Gange initiative has also been recognized under it. Now let us get to know about the Terai Arc landscape. It is a transboundary biodiversity hotspot launched in 2001. Terai Arc landscape is a critical habitat for tigers, rhinos and elephants. It further aims to conserve ecosystems of the Terai and Churia hills. Also, it covers several protected areas such as Corbett Tiger Reserve and Rajaji National Park. Lastly, it extends to over 900 kilometers from the Bagmati River in the east to the Yamuna River in the west. It stretches across 5.10 million hectares and over 7 million people are dependent on the landscape. Lastly, let us also discuss the World Restoration Flagship commenced in 2022. The World Restoration Flagship was recognized under the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration 2021-30. It is further led by the United Nations Environment Programme or UNEP and the Food and Agriculture Organization and other partner organizations. Their primary objectives are to prevent, halt and reverse the degradation of ecosystems on every continent and in every ocean. Its selection criteria is on the basis of geographic and probability of the success criteria. Lastly, their progress is monitored through the Framework for Ecosystem Restoration Monitoring.
Moving on to the next news. Parliamentary Standing Committee releases a report on employment generation and revenue earning potential of fisheries sector. Let's start by first having a look at the status of fisheries sector. India is the third largest fish producer in the world. In aquaculture fishing, it ranks second after China. The contribution of freshwater and marine fisheries is about 75% is to 25%, and it is recognized as a sunrise sector. Sunrise sector includes a sector which is growing fast and is expected to become important in the future. Nutritional and food security and economic benefits would be the opportunities ahead in this sector. If we talk about the challenges in the fishery sector, then these include overcoming poor value chain management with post-harvest losses averaging at 20 to 25% and untapped potential of large dams. Moreover, the commercial breeding of species with medicinal and nutritional value remains low, such as magur, shingi and pabda. Furthermore, issues like overfishing and harmful practices like bull trawling and LED light fishing are other challenges in the sector. Now let's discuss and understand the key recommendations of the report. The report encourages participation of private players from all the states and UTs in the Fisheries and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development Fund scheme for betterment in infrastructure. Also, it emphasizes in strengthening the infrastructure of fishing harbors and fish landing centers. Further, it promotes cage culture in big reservoirs to utilize full potential. Moreover, it has recommended a separate research council for the fishery sector. And lastly, it focuses on exploring the possibility of providing interest-free loans to farmers under Kisan Credit Card initiative. There has also been some steps taken for the fishery sector. These include Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, National Genetic Improvement Facility, establishment of the National Fisheries Development Board, National Surveillance Program for Aquatic Animal Diseases for disease surveillance in aquaculture, promoting fish farmer-producer organizations and river ranching scheme and artificial reefs. The place in news for today is Madagascar with its capital Antananarivo. It is in the news as Indian Prime Minister met President of Madagascar on the occasion of the World Government Summit 2024 in Dubai. Talking about its political features, it is an island country lying off the southeastern coast of Africa. It shares its maritime borders with Comoros, France, Mauritius, Mozambique and Seychelles. Talking about its geographical features, it is physiographically divided into Central Plateau, the coastal strip in the east, and the zone of low plateaus and plains in the west. Its major river is Mangokke River and its highest point is Maromokotro.
As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. The Union Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying launches the Realigned Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund scheme. It is a central sector scheme with the objective of incentivizing investment in dairy, meat processing infrastructure and animal feed plant and related sector. The parasitic creeper Cascata dodder is choking the Chengalpet forest and Vedantangal bird sanctuary, threatening the local vegetation. It is also known as Akash bale or Amar bale, and it is an invasive weed which is native to North America. Kerala has passed a resolution urging the centre to amend Wildlife Protection Act to decrease man-animal conflict and declare wild boar as vermin. The vermins are animals that threaten humans, crops, livestock or property and are declared as per Section 62 of WPA by the central government. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India or FSSAI certified more than 500 hospitals as Eat Right campuses under the Eat Right India initiative. Its objective is to ensure safe, healthy and sustainable food for all Indians. It adopts a judicious mix of regulatory, capacity building, collaborative and empowerment approaches to ensure that food is good both for the people and the planet. A novel method for directly synthesizing carbon nanotubes on glass substrates at a temperature of 750 degrees Celsius has been developed. It uses plasma-enhanced chemical vapor deposition technique. CNTs are nanocarbon materials with tubular structure composed of rolled-up graphene sheets. WHO has released guidelines for clinical management of diphtheria. Diphtheria is an infection caused by strains of bacteria called Corynebacterium diphtheria. It spreads from person to person, usually through respiratory droplets. It basically infects the respiratory tract and skin. Central Drug Standard Control Organization or CDSCO approved Boehringer's Jardiance for chronic kidney disease in India. The CDSCO is the national regulatory authority responsible for the approval of drugs. The chronic disease is a disease or a condition that usually lasts for 3 months or longer and may get worse over time. Some key changes have been made in National Film Awards such as the Indira Gandhi Award for Best Debut Film of a Director renamed as Best Debut Film of a Director. From now on, the prize money will only go to the director. Nargis Dutt Award for Best Feature Film on National Integration has also been renamed. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.